Pranic Healing, inner peace, better relationships, spiritual connection, health, balance, harmony, joy, love. Welcome to the podcast of How Pranic Healing Changed My Life. I'm your host, Nicole Fusche, and this podcast shares the many benefits of pranic healing and how people's lives have changed for the better after becoming involved in this revolutionary healing modality. We will share testimonials from people who have experienced the multiple benefits of pranic healing and how they have integrated the teachings into their lives. This relaxed platform shares the raw, authentic, heartfelt stories and the miracles that have unfolded. I hope these stories inspire you. So welcome to the podcast, How Pranic Healing Changed My Life. And I'm so excited to introduce MaryAnne. MaryAnne has become a beloved member of our community here in Tampa, and she just has the most inspirational, beautiful, heartfelt story to share. So welcome, MaryAnne. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. So happy to share.
Absolutely. So MaryAnne, remind me, when did we first meet?
I have to think back a little bit because I think that it was after I had been diagnosed and my sister happened to have a friend. It's so funny how things work, but she had a friend who was a healer that was studying under you. And when my sister had heard about my diagnosis, if I remember correctly, it's been so many months, Nicole, but my sister had spoken to this friend of hers and she said immediately, you have to call Nicole. You need to call her. She's going to be able to help you, because it was a pretty grim diagnosis that I got. And I was worried. I was scared and I was worried.
I remember that. And I remembered you coming into the center, and the first thing that jumps out at me is just how beautiful you're speaking, because I remember that first session that we had, your voice was very, very raspy, and there was a lot going on with the voice, and obviously the stress levels were pretty high. Do you want to just share a little bit about that first session and where you were at that point in your life?
Well, I had just been diagnosed with endometrial cancer that had metastasized to my lungs. And I was just in shock. I had not been sick, much at all in my life. I didn't take medicine. I was always healthy and on the go. And so when I arrived at your office, Nicole, I really was very concerned because it was a grim diagnosis, right? But you helped me so much. I know, I have great faith, and I always know that God has a plan for all of our lives. But he also places people in your life to help you get through some of the things that you have to deal with. And I trusted that so much, so completely, and had great hope. But you had talked to me about all of the things that Pranic does. It isn't just about healing your body. It's about healing all of you. It's about healing your emotions and your soul, really and truly. It gets to the center of your heart and your body, and it's this process where everything comes together. And I felt a little detached, even though I knew that I was in good hands with the doctors and I had a lot of family support. I was so happy to hear what you had to say. And I just felt at that moment that I had been given this gift of knowing you and being in touch with you. And it took the fear, really. It took a lot of fear out of me, or out of the moment for me.
I love that. Yeah. And the beautiful thing is, which I always say to people when we're doing pranic healing, especially with grim diagnoses like this, is pranic healing is a complementary therapy, which means it complements everything else that you're doing. And for a lot of people, it's that missing piece where we give you that hope, that faith. We work with the root cause of the illness on an energetic level. And to some degree, that brings out a lot of stuff that you actually didn't know that you were carrying, and allows you to work through that. Do you want to just talk about that process for you a little bit? Like what came to light and really what stood out for you in terms of really digging deep with this illness?
Yes. Well, first of all, when you told me what was going to happen, you had offered to work with me, and I had 9 months of treatment. So it was a long journey. And these wonderful, while I was thinking about preparing for this treatment, you were gathering these wonderful people to help me.
Mm-hmm.
So not only did I feel um, gratitude, but I also felt peace. I felt that I definitely wasn't alone in this process, and that there were so many levels of healing that were going to take place with me. I could not have imagined, really, in the beginning. I could not have known that there were things that really I had to uncover. I had no idea they were there. And you spoke to me so many times about searching and digging deep and thinking and just letting it go. And it was a wonderful way to learn um, how I could really heal not just my body, but also my mind and my soul and my heart, and to just look so much more towards gratitude and forgiveness. That was a huge thing for me. I didn't know I had to forgive because honestly, I was always happy. I always felt like I was happy. I always felt like I had so many wonderful things to be grateful for and felt blessed. If anything really bothered me, I would try and push it aside or push it away and focus on the good. But I wasn't letting go of it. I didn't realize it at the time, but I wasn't letting
And
go of
that's such a key point. And the one thing that I've loved working with you, and everybody who's worked with you will say the same thing, is you just embraced it. When we said, MaryAnne, you need to practice gratitude, you practiced it at like 1,000%. When we said, MaryAnne, you need to do forgiveness, I still remember you saying, yeah, I don't know if there's anything to forgive, but I'm going to be a sport and I'm going to do it anyway. And there was some stuff that had come up. And that's the beautiful thing with pranic healing. When we look at the science behind pranic healing, every single thing that we're experiencing physically in the body always starts as a mental and emotional issue first. And a lot of that comes with anger, with resentment, with unforgiveness, this heavy energy that's sitting in the system that eventually just builds up and builds up until the body's screaming, I need help. And suddenly there's a disease that appears. And it's not that it's suddenly just, hey, I have cancer. It's been building for many, many, many years in the system because of a lot of the stuff that we're holding on to and not processing. And that was the really beautiful thing with you just being so open to really dig deep and do the work. That is the key, is really doing the work. And our healing part, for those of you that are not familiar, we've just got the most incredible team of healers with such a diverse range of expertise, where MaryAnne would join, and to have 10, 15, 20 healers working on you, but each on a specific element, working on the liver, working on the lungs, working on the tumors, working on the forgiveness, working on the gratitude, cutting cords, really just, such an in-depth and intensive healing process. And you just did it really so beautifully. And that was many, many months ago. And I remembered you coming to an event in October last year. And I think you just had your final updates from the doctors. I mean, just share, where you are now. Let
Mm-hmm.
everybody know.
Well, I will tell you that you can't be in this group, in these sessions, and not feel gratitude and not feel loved and not really just, honestly, I felt so at peace. I just, I let go of the worry. I really did. And I knew that there were so many people surrounding me with goodness and light and gifts and love and I felt that. I truly felt that. And it made me stronger, right? And it gave me great hope. And
And
I
I think
knew.
that, sorry to interrupt, but that is such a vital component of healing, especially when you get this diagnosis. The doctors are very clinical and it's just kind of this and that and the next thing. And it can leave you feeling overwhelmed. There's a whole bunch of new stuff to take on. And a lot of people lose that hope. They lose that optimism. And to be able to let go of that worry and have that faith and have that support and not have that stress, I really feel is like half the battle won, because we know stress accelerates that disease process. And I mean, you just slid right into it so easily and so graciously, and the stress levels were definitely kept to a minimal, even though it was, a lot of work and treatments that you had to go through.
Yes, it was. It was funny to say that I don't know really any other way to explain it except to say that I was at real peace and I was also happy. It's funny to think that you can be in the middle of all of this and be happy and grateful. I just had such gratitude really for everything. And I was able to let go of the worry, I really was. And so my body just felt good. And truly, for everything that I've been through, I am so blessed, because it would be very different if I didn't have your team, your love, your support, all of your healing. I do really think that that had so much to do. I've seen so many people and no other people. I wish that I could get other people really in this wonderful process with them, because it makes such a difference. And I do want to say, of course, now I'm 4 months out of treatment and my hair is back and I'm volunteering again, and I'm so happy to be active. And the good news is, of course, my CA 125 number was pretty high when we started. And it was way out of the normal range. But now, my last checkup last month, the number is 29.8, which is within the normal range. And so, yes, indeed, I am healing and I'm feeling great. And I'm just so grateful. I will always be grateful.
That makes my heart so happy. And even when you were going through those treatments, you tolerated them so well. What we've seen with a lot of our clients, when they're doing chemo, when they're doing radiation, the side effects seem to just be less severe when we're working, alongside. And as I said, I mean, it seems like I've known you forever, but in the grand scheme of things, where you were a few months ago to where you are now, I mean, physically, the body is healed and happy and healthy. The soul is happy. Emotionally, you're happy. So, if I had to ask you one last question, if there was somebody listening to this podcast and you just had a message for them or something inspirational, if somebody was just feeling down in the dumps and just searching for a sign, what message would you share with them?
I would say pay attention to the sign and act on it, because it is not by coincidence and it will change your life. It changed mine. And, we've talked about it, like cancer saved my life.
I remember, I was just going to say, we got you a t-shirt that said
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Because I met you and you have made such a difference.
Oh, God bless you, MaryAnne. You touch so many of our lives as well. And that's the beautiful thing with Pranic Healing, is we just meet so many beautiful souls, and the exchange is perfect in terms of you have the gratitude for the healing, but we have the gratitude and the joy of meeting you and guiding you on your journey. It's just been a wonderful exchange. So thank you. Thank you for trusting the process. Thank you for being so grateful for everything, because that in and of itself is a big
Mm.
a big step in the right direction.
I'm your biggest fan. And I'm sure there's many of them out there that would say the same thing, but you'll always be very, very special to me. Thank you.
Oh. Much love to you, MaryAnne. Thank you for your
Thank
time
you.
today. And I can't wait to see you and give you a big hug in person.
I agree. Same here. Bye bye, my dear.